Nah. 2 million is your share. After all, you were gonna take 20%, right? Let's try getting 10 million out of Madame Rose. She wants to hurry up with the Distribution Association, right? This according to my acquaintances. But it sounds like the GDS and others are after City 23. The mochis made by Wang are still sitting there uneaten. All that's needed is for someone to pour soy sauce on City 23 and eat it up. Or at least that's a bunch of mafia big shots in the neighboring cities saying that sort of thing. Oh, but keep this hush-hush. Davis had everything pre-calculated. He was blackmailing Madame Rose after taking full account of her haste. $10 million was a lot, but it wasn't an impossible sum to hurry up and pay for the distribution network. They won't be able to pay it if it was viewed as a succumbing to a threat, but they could pass it off as a negotiating fee or a bribe. Ah, fuck this dude, just kill him. Now that obviously that's what they're going to do. Now that Primavera was in the position of trying to dash across a dangerous bridge, it was like a feast waiting to happen for a man like Davis. Fuck Davis. Okay, I'll try to negotiate with that number, but could we at least meet face to face? I want to work out the details with you. What about tonight? Oh, tonight. What about tonight? I'm really sorry. I've got plans, you see. Don't think I'll be available for a while. Real sorry about that. Then could you at least give me a little way to get in touch? Give me a way. The bosses are in a hurry. They want to form a rapid understanding with you. But I'm really busy. It's not like I'm always near a phone. I'll contact you tomorrow. Would you be able to give me your answer then? I'm sure Madame Rose will be able to make a quick decision. She's a wise person. James. Okay, I'll be waiting. Later. James set down the receiver, sank into the sofa, and let out a big sigh. 10 million, huh? That bastard. That man's made too many enemies. He probably plans to leave Tokyo once this is all over. Yeah, no shit. What about your end? Have you been able to find his location? Sorry. We set out a net, but no such luck. In that case, we'll have to rely on the wandering dogs, huh? Bring cold drinks to Charles and the others in the other room. Sounds like they're thinking pretty hard. Boss, who are those brats? I thought Charles was just a trainee dealer. It's true, he's good with his hands, but he's got no class or tact. He's not quite up to snuff for the elegance of our hall. He's a poor kid who grew up in the alleys, right? Why is someone like that walking around? Working here. Don't tell me you really don't know who that kid is. He's one of the Wandering Dogs, the independent team under the Wild Dogs that Wayne trusts most. The backdoor employment agency industry, the soy sauce embezzlement incident, as well as others that led to the feud. The Wandering Dogs are responsible for finding evidence related to all of those. They've been pushed back to square one for certain reasons. They were once part of the consigliary's inner circle, serving as Madame Rose's personal guard. After their many accomplishments, they were given the special honor of participating in the official exec pasta gathering. Even during the soy sauce war, they were involved in secret operations that were vital, a role that led to a Primavera victory. In that way, is Charles of the Wandering Dogs not suitable for Rich Bombo? That was the first time the three Wandering Dogs had worked together after splitting up to further their growth following Zell's departure. Wayne had ordered them to join forces. Or joining forces. He decided that the only ones who could quickly catch the trail of this troublesome target were those familiar with everything from back alleys to the sewers. And for those three, this became a chance to show see how much they'd all grown since that day. There was no relaxed atmosphere, no sharing of fond memories at their reunion. Their gazes were serious, filled with determination to meet with the expectations of the men that they respected as their only boss. He's in trouble with the GDS too. So we don't need to worry about Chinatown. They say the net's around the luxury restaurants he likes, but he's never showed up. I see, so we realize he's the kind of villain people want dead. Running away and hiding are totally different things. His job's not over yet. He'll be inside City 23, that's the one thing we know for sure. The table was covered with a mass of maps and bits of information. They analyzed that information from multiple angles, using the senses they'd honed since that day. During this year, they had grown spectacularly. When Zell returned one day, they wanted to be able to rebuild the Wandering Dogs team. We've got our fellow rats throughout the city. We're searching, but not a single clue. That can't be right. It's impossible to hide in the back streets without any rats catching wind of it. In other words, he isn't in an alley or a cheap hotel or a sewer. We can rely on them since they can't find him. That proves he isn't anywhere that rats go. Oh, sounds like the lone wolf Oliver's gotten pretty used to trusting people. Shut up. During the past year, Oliver had learned how to handle people from Wayne. Not how to give people overwhelming orders. Instead, it was how to ask people to do things. For example, no kind of training can suddenly double your strength. But if you ask for help, you can double your fighting force easily. In fact, you can multiply your strength by 10 or 20 by gathering people. Oliver realized that this was the next skill he needed to gain, after fighting and handling guns. So Oliver began to intimidate Wayne, and share his wages with alley orphans. Imitate Wayne. That accumulated experience of negotiation with people was slowly erasing Oliver's once fierce lone wolf soul. Rich people are really good at sniffing out people of their class. In other words, if he's managed to trick the leaders of an affluent merchants alliance, he's got to be dressed pretty nice. So he's got to be neat, with a sense of cleanliness. In other words, you won't be hiding in some moldy hole. He'll need a shower, a closet, a dresser, and it'll be someplace where he wouldn't stand out when he walked around dressed all fancy. I see. So we've got to search uptown, not downtown. The captain's been investigating for us too, but it seems like this guy's not being backed by the American military. So the person hiding him isn't in the American military or Chinatown, but still has enough money. Yeah, I've been looking around too. That sort of loner villain who carves the limelight will die if he doesn't have a woman who will accept him. A woman, huh? Probably a luxury girl who works alone and lives in a hotel. That narrows down the possibilities a lot. Oliver should have shut up. Oliver wasn't the only one who had grown. Yeah, Nina's gotten bigger. Both Charles and Nina had grown in their own ways. Charles had worked in James's casino, observing all kinds of rich people, from high society types of money, high society types to new money. And he had also started studying how to act as that, so that they would accept him. He was still a rough blade, so his co-workers laughed at how funny he looked. However, studying the world the world furthest from their ally origins would surely become a powerful tool. Probably. Nina returned to being a lady of the evening, using her cheery nature to expand her personal connections. Yes, fuck me. Bullying by her seniors at work had annoyed and discouraged her, but her character was naturally suited for being a lady of the evening. She was now using her distinctive style of speech as a weapon to show off her personality as she spread her network across the world of the evening. I thought it was a different kind of spread there. I'm not gonna lie. So would come back someday. They were totally focused on being able to surprise her with that day, when that day came. So they continued to hone their skills enthusiastically. America, China, Japan. It's been a while since we've all gathered together. The war with Caleb feels as though it has something from a distant past. Huh? Why are you speaking Japanese so awkwardly? No, it would be rude for me to do any less. So you're Lee's... yeah, please start by introducing this lovely lady. Pleasure to meet you. Captain Philip, a butler. The pleasure's mine, Captain. Your Japanese sounds incredibly native. And your English was splendid. If only I could greet you in fluent Chinese, this would be perfect. My man, getting in. I'm pleased to meet you, Madame Rose. My name is Li Maiju. Sure, English. I'll be your uninformed contact with Chinatown. Unified contact. Nice to meet you, fucking Yuki. Wait, her name's... So many people named fucking Lee. Nice to meet you, Yuki. Still... Oh, God. No, fuck. Still, Lee, you really worked fast. Whereas we, the ones who proposed this, still haven't settled our end. It's an embarrassment. When a culture has been protected for over 1,000 years, it can dash over 1,000 miles in a night when the time comes. Don't worry yourself, consigliere. It just means we were able to finish organizing our profits quickly. Monetary calculations are a specialty of the Chinese. When it comes to that, we Americans aren't even any worse off. Thanks to Rose's rapid decision-making, these diseased folks who die if they can't keep raking the money manage to sweep the opposing party out of the board of directors. The tyranny of the majority in your U.S. democracy is truly a terrifying thing. Sure. Not that we hold a candle to you guys. Enough of that, you two. Then again, I think this is how the world should be. If the world only had one ruler, you just end up with a class society. A world that exists only to oppress those of lower rungs. However, when you have two kings with equal power, tyranny only helps your opponent. We can cultivate each other's character and bring peace to the world. Are you speaking of a Cold War situation? I guess even a Cold War with both sides pointing nuclear weapons at each other could be called a peaceful one. Walls are only secure when they're supported from both sides, and all forces are in equilibrium. Though it can be hard on the wall that's feeling pressure from both sides. If it's careless enough to lean to either side, the resistance can be fierce. On the other hand, it gets support from both camps, which seems like a pretty nice position to me. I see. All three of us understand the positions we stand in. What we want is stability. We don't want to stand in opposition to anyone. The U.S. feels the same. At the very least, we don't approve of trouble breaking out in City 23. It's the same for us. We truly hope our respective groups of comrades can interact peacefully. Of course, they were whitewashing the issue. They all felt the expectations of the representative camps. Butler couldn't afford to overlook the encroachment of Chinatown anymore. The Americans wanted to get involved proactively, offering attractive deals so that the Japanese merchants didn't get won over by Chinatown. Down for me. As for Lee, he wanted to make it known that Chinatown wanted peace. Even without war, Chinatown could use its vibrant knack for expansion to steadily grow its territory, just as it had been doing. Primavera was scheming to have America and China to compete with each other, while they got juicy deals from both sides. That's what I want. If things went bad, they'd be fated to get crushed underfoot by these giants. However, that's the path the minority must tread. They had to constantly convince both sides that the Japanese were too sweet a prize to give up to their opponent. Originally, Primavera had wanted to use this meeting to announce that all their preparations had been completed. However, Davis's intervention had thrown the voting for the Distribution Association into chaos. Fucking Davis. By the regulations of their alliance, the establishment of the association wouldn't happen without a 2/3 majority vote. Fuck! We need to change the rule! They were businessmen, not members of the criminal underworld, so it was necessary to resolve things democratically, according to their rules. Of course, there were quite a few discontented people. However, they had to keep their opinions to themselves, afraid of getting involved with the mafia. The plan had been take the vote and then wait as this potential unsatisfied element gradually gave up, but Davis had fired them up, gathered them together, and turned them into a faction. Well, I mean, that's kind of only natural. You are way weaker if you're just by yourself. He'd basically given them a blank check to act, spreading the word that he had ties to the underworld and occupying forces and would get them a favorable deal. Lying fucking cunt. Partly because of Primavera's drop in reputation after the soy sauce war, a group of merchants agreed and accepted Davis's terms. It was unsure whether he had gathered enough people to change the outcome of the vote. However, by its very nature, a City 23 Distribution Association wouldn't exist without the support of all the merchants of in the Japanese colony. Even if the vote passed, every member of the group that lost the vote would become a source of problems in the future. If they left Davis be, the seeds of discord would grow and grow. They had to eliminate him as quickly as possible. I mean, do we? If we eliminate him, that, like, what it can do, depending on how much they care about this fucking dude, is inspire him to be like, oh my god, this is a mafia, this is bad. They're that desperate to make us blah, 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 and just, like, further spiral down. Do you think it'll take a while to convince him? I mean, that's my responsibility. We will convince Mr. Davis Degawa. I'm sure he'll understand if we talk to him. I'm counting on you. Leave this to me and forget it. After erasing Davis, they would leak that he was a famous swindler in the underworld and had been making plots surrounding the association. I mean, that'll work on some of them, maybe. The merchants were fundamentally cowards. They were only able to rebel because they had Davis guarding their backs. Maybe. If he disappeared, they would spin like a weather vane and support the association immediately. I mean, if that's a guarantee, then there's no problem doing that. If that's a guarantee. All you have gathered here, before we make our decision, I would like to welcome a new member to this conference. No objections here. The more boobies, the better. I have no objections either. It has been too long, Stella. Stella, please take a seat. Epic. I'm pleased to meet everyone. Yuki, let me introduce you. This is Stella Mayugi. From now on, she will handle this deal along with Consigliere Richard. Ah, Chinese. Still, it's a bit sad, Stella. Are you really quitting your job at the club? It won't be a complete retirement right away. I'd like to gradually shift my focus to this realm, learning as I go. The negotiations and speaking techniques she's learned through the club will become her weapons. After all, here we resolve all problems by talking, while also pointing guns at each other. I plan to work hard so I can quickly stand on my own and assist Madame Rose. Stella Mayugi decided to quit her job as a lady of the evening. No! To Richard, the decision had seemed sudden, but of course she had reached this conclusion after a long time of thinking, in her own way. It had to do with my little baby, right? What? You're quitting? It's true you've been getting more wrinkles lately, but still nothing you can't cover up with makeup. Don't worry. Gurring. Thanks for trying to stop me. I'm serious. Seriously, what is it? Time to pay the piper or something? Something like that. You're right. I'm getting on in years. I've lived as I pleased, uninterested in anyone but myself. But now I'm at an age where I can't do that. So it's time for Granny to retire. Huh? Now this club's mine. Ha ha ha. Ladies of the evening usually retire when they're tired of the job or get a man. But Meryl didn't think Stella fit either of those cases. Stella had always enjoyed her body to skillfully toy with men and rake in the dough. Yeah, she could. However, Meryl vaguely understood. Stella's change of heart had begun the day Rose fainted. We know how hard Rose was working all alone. Know it better than anyone else. She quelled the ladies' factional struggles, united Primavera, and then suddenly became the representative after being dragged into a fight with the Mafia. By now, she cared for all of her countrymen, not just the ladies of the evening, and continued to work without rest. Furthermore, consigliere Richard was Stella's big brother. She must have heard more than anyone about the urgent matters and that always surrounded Primavera, leaving no room for rest. Do you remember that day when we were chased by Caleb's bunch and escaped into the rain? Yeah, a long fucking way from here. I remember. That day we accepted that girl as our madam and swore to each other to support her. They acknowledged the heavy burden Rose bore, rose up together, and swore to support her. True. They took up guns along with Rose and threw themselves into the fight against the Caleb family. Then the Caleb family crumbled, and peace came to City 23. After that, the Primavera family was formed, and we gained stabilities as ladies of the evening. Protecting a workplace for ladies of the evening was a big accomplishment for us. That's right, a big accomplishment. But Rose didn't stop there. She kept on moving forward. And what about us? Did we move forward with her and try to support her? We didn't do anything. We just watched Rose from behind and enjoyed the peace she'd given us. Ever since the fight against Caleb ended, we haven't done anything to support that girl. I mean, stop. When Rose fainted, I finally realized, when that girl's gone, everything will end. The resilience needed to be madam isn't something that came to her naturally. We just promoted her because she was good at dealing with factions. You're right. If we knew Primavera would have turned out like this, it might have been better to choose someone like Amanda. And yet she's unable to retreat or even rest. At this rate, something terrible is going to happen. You've thought the same thing too, haven't you? Well, yeah. You're smart, you're clever, and you're good at dealing with executive types. In a three-legged race alongside your consigliere brother, you're always able to help Rose's work in many ways. But sorry, I'm just an idiot who's useless at everything except drinking. The only subject I can brag about having studied is English. During my rebellious phase, I started hating everything about Japan. I studied English like an idiot because I thought it was cool. But I didn't study anything else. I got pissed and decided an idiot might as well have their idiocy as a redeeming trait. Now I finally regret it. If only I'd studied more. Even though my friends are fighting to protect our future, I'm not qualified to join that fight. Even Meryl couldn't fail to notice that Rose was worn out by her fierce work schedule. However, Meryl didn't have the learning or knowledge to serve serve in Rose's place. Even looking at numbers made her head ache, much less written characters. She couldn't do anything except pretend not to notice. It was pathetic. But you can help me. If you supported me, I'd be able to support Rose that much more. Stella, please take care of my girls. Of course I'll be back. I'll back you. We sort of keep forgetting this, but we're enemies, aren't we? Yeah, kind of. That's right. We've threatened each other in the past, saying we'd pull the trigger without hesitation the next time we saw each other's face. I thought we'd end up killing each other someday. The times change. You know what? The times don't really change. You're right, time just advances. The only question is whether people can change enough to keep up. When Rose's ideals are achieved and we've been freed from the responsibility of supporting Primavera, I'll kill you then. When that happens, I'll settle things with you. Promising me a graveyard showdown? I'm the only one who gets to kill you. That's hilarious. You're going to get killed by me. Your life is going to be mine. Without any sort of signal, they brought their fists together at the same time. Then they lightly pressed them together. On that day, they took a new first step. When Rose heard, she was happy. I don't know. That's kind of fucking weird. I'm just saying. I'll fucking kill you. Okay. She cried out loud. I don't know. It just feels weird. She was already starting to realize that she couldn't make her ideals a reality by her own hand. She needed comrades to support each other, comrades to inherit their struggles. Rose decided to accept Stella's and Meryl's determination. And so, what was once a three-way feud over the position of Primavera's madam finally ended. Amanda lost her position, Stella retired. The last to remain was Meryl, the true queen of the evening. Madame Meryl, when people called her that, she smiled wryly and retired that title. By now, Madame wasn't a name to be used by a leader of ladies of the evening. That name was meant for one who led City 23. No, led her countrymen into the future. I'm just Meryl. Fuck Madame.